Hoshimachi Suisei is known to be one of the most hardworking and beloved members of Hololive production. She has been praised and loved by her fans since her debut in 2018, and her story that led her to where she is now comes to be one of the most inspiring VTuber stories I've seen. This is someone who grinded to the point she got her own concerts, a performance on the first take, and 2 entire albums that reflect her personality, skill, and talent beautifully. She is truly a force not to be reckoned with. So here's her story of how it all went down. As many of you know, Suisei was not always part of Hololive. In fact, she was an independent creator at first. She first debuted on March 22nd, 2018, which is almost 6 years at the time of recording this video. God, time flies so fast. Anyway, she made her debut, and it was long before the VTuber boom we'd see in a few years. At the time, being a VTuber was a novelty in itself, with Kizuna Ai being VTuber queen during this time. Suisei had originally made her model and rigged it all by herself, which already shows her commitment and dedication to entertaining people. Before becoming a VTuber, Suisei had auditioned for real-life idol agencies. But after getting nothing but rejections, she pursued being a virtual idol instead, while bouncing back and forth between this and her job at a Japanese pub. She also had to put aside time to edit her own videos and streams. Initially, she was slow to grow as a VTuber, but she was all prepared to continue grinding as a VTuber, as she slowly but surely was able to gather some people to watch her. She would end up joining the VTuber agency Signal in July 4, 2018, but nothing came of it. In fact, it's pretty hard to find information about them, and this is the only picture I could find of Suisei in her Signal era. Their Twitter hasn't been active in 5 years, so it's safe to say they went kaput. She would leave after just 1 month and resumed her activities as an independent artist. Suisei would continue grinding until she finally got her big break in 2019, which doesn't sound as easy as you would think. She had almost been ready to give up until she auditioned at one last place, and that was Hololive Production. At the time, the company was still in its infancy and wasn't exactly at the forefront of the VTuber industry just yet. Suisei had been rejected at first on account of her having many talents, but there was concern she would be overworked to where she would be led to failure. However, after trying again, on May 19, 2019, it was announced she would be signed to Cover Corp under the condition she would join the Inonaka music label alongside Asuki. The two made their debut to some fanfare, and the two were ready to start their careers under the management of Cover Corp. However, it would not be all rainbows. Suisei was left in the shadows and was very slow to grow. Although Asuki was able to hold a few events of her own, Suisei was left completely in the darkness and left to fend on her own. From what she and other fans have said about her days in Inonaka, Suisei's management had ignored her and denied a lot of things that would have benefited her career sooner rather than later. She had asked them for a backing track for a cover she was going to do, and they said no. She literally had to contract a third party and publish it by herself just to put together a proper release. It seems the management she had felt like it was going to be some pretty hard stuff to do, despite only having 2 artists in their label at the time. To that I say, what's the point of having a label if they won't properly promote you and give you the necessary essentials to help make people know you exist? It feels like they were only prepared to handle just one artist, and that Suisei was a last-second addition they weren't exactly capable of handling. She had actually pitched herself to be part of Hololive at first, but was sent to the Inonaka label instead. And in the midst of this, because they had the resources to mainly focus on one over the other, they would focus on Asuki and not both. Then there exists that clip of her crying, this coming after Inonaka had told her that her upcoming original song was being cancelled, and might not even see a release within the year. Just imagine being signed to a label and you ask what your next plans are for your music career, and they're just like, we're canceling it, sorry. And to add insult to injury, they didn't even bother to announce the cancellation themselves. She had to do it herself. In addition, Suisei was barely mentioned by Inonaka's manager at all. Almost all the tweets they made were related to Asuki, showing not only just bias, but also unfair treatment of their members. And this is not to poke at Asuki at all. She is just as hardworking as she is. If anything, I think Asuki is underrated by herself and deserves some flowers. But it is inexcusable what Suisei got at the other side of the label. This is just a cruel reminder that the media industry is a very cutthroat world. Many artists these days are one-hit wonders, they get dropped from the label, they have to resort to touring because the labels either refuse to promote them properly or they barely cover enough for the artist to afford rent and not having to resort to EBT cards. Suisei, however, after all of that, refused to give up. She stuck around anyway, showing her commitment to still being the shining star that she longed to be. And I believe that right there is what makes me love her as a VTuber. She is someone who is full of personality, someone who feels like they'd be fun to hang out with, and has a bunch of moments that are unforgettable. On December 1st, 2019, Suisei was free from the wrath of the Inonaka management as it was announced she would be transferred to the main Hololive branch. She would now be part of Generation Zero alongside Sora, Roboko, Sakura Miko, and eventually Asuki, joining in 2022 after Inonaka finally folded as a label. With this, Suisei was given a new model designed by Teshima Nari after Suisei initially asked to keep her original model, but this model update was requested by Hololive management. And I do have to say, both models are pretty great in my opinion. The fact that she was able to rig her own model at first is an achievable feat on her own. And this updated model she received is not only attractive, but also radiates personality. 2 months earlier, before she was transferred to the main Hololive branch, Suisei had also started live streaming on Bilibili, and months later, one event would change the growth of her career. On March 1st, 2020, Suisei received her 3D model, and had her first ever 3D concert. Her popularity grew tremendously, and gave her a cult following on not just Bilibili, but on YouTube as well. The amount of people that would donate over 198 renminbi every month grew to over 1,000, over 700 of them having joined during the concert. She was the first ever VTuber on the platform to reach this milestone in history. The concert also gathered 55,000 live viewers on YouTube, and the Twitter hashtag tied to it was also the top trending hashtag in the world at the time. She was also able to perform in Hololive's first festival concert Non-Stop Story, which pushed her into the 100k subscriber milestone on January 31st, 2020. All these things that Suisei was suddenly getting after being transferred out of Inonaka was nothing short of a miracle, and an incredible feat that was long overdue. And little did she know, this was only the beginning of the accomplishments she put on her list. On March 22nd, 2020, she released her first single for Hololive, which was titled Next Color Planet. The song would reach number 5 on the Oricon Daily Digital Singles chart, and with that out of the way, Suisei was only starting to grow bigger, reaching thousands of new fans every day. And before she knew it, she reached 1 million subscribers on June 26, 2021, a well-deserved accomplishment for our beloved, talented singing queen. After releasing singles like Ghost and Blue Rose, Cover Corp released her debut album Still Stellar, which features the modern-day classic Stellar Stellar. With this album out for the world to hear and experience the true potential of the queen that is Hoshimachi Suisei, she was given her first live concert, and I'm talking an actual event that people would go to physically. The first solo live Stellar Into the Galaxy was held on October 21st, 2021, to great success and only cemented her as a Hololive legend in the making. Having gone from rags to riches in a span of 3 years, Suisei's story is one for the VTuber history books. She went from a nobody to a beloved figure in the VTuber landscape, and is quite the inspiring story that could make anyone cry tears of joy. Since then, after announcing a 1.5 month hiatus to undergo throat surgery, she came back stronger than ever, with not only a second album, but also with her second solo concert, Shout in Crisis. She could have taken it slow, but this right here shows that she is a dedicated person with potential that she fulfilled with style and grace. In addition, she became the first VTuber to debut on the first take, with a performance of Stellar Stellar that now has 14 million views as of this video's recording. This not only was a remarkable feat for VTubers, but it even attracted people who are not even into VTubers to be like, okay, this girl can sing, she has talent. And finally, on September 27, 2023, she reached 2 million subscribers, making her the 8th Hololive member to achieve this milestone. So take this story into mind if you ever feel down. This is what happens when you don't give up, when you're this committed to doing what you want to do the most, when you don't let the downsides pull you down. Suisei has been through a lot that could have potentially ended her career, but her strong will to keep going has left her rewarded, and she now gets to benefit from the fame she's more than earned and deserved. So no matter what you may be working for, whether you're 20 years old or 80 years old, no matter how old you are or what you're working towards, if it's to work at NASA or even working at a barber shop to make rent to support your family, anything productive proves you have what it takes to make a living. And the story of our beautiful blue-haired singing queen Hoshimachi Suisei sets a great example of commitment and dedication. What do you think of Suisei? Is she your favorite VTuber? How did you first discover her? And what more do you want to see from her? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next one.